The chains were not metal. That was the first thing Sergeant Marcus Cole noticed when they brought her into the ceremony hall. They were made of crystal light. Thin, translucent, glowing faint blue, wrapped around her wrists, ankles, and her throat. The Valkyrie delegation presented her like a trophy. "For your Vela at Meridian Station," the ambassador announced, his 4 eyes blinking in rhythm, "the Valkyrie Concord presents this bond gift." The hall applauded. Marcus did not. The alien woman kept her head bowed. Silver hair spilled over glowing pale blue skin. When she finally looked up, her eyes were solid violet. No pupils. No whites. Just depth like distant galaxies. "I don't want her," Marcus said. Silence crushed the room. Admiral Chen's smile froze. The ambassador's secondary arms twitched. "She is not a slave," the ambassador said carefully. "She is a sacred companion. She's in chains. They are ceremonial. Not where I come from." Marcus stepped forward and touched one glowing thread. A shock ran through him. Not pain. Emotion. Fear. Not his own. The woman grabbed his wrist. "Don't," she whispered. Her voice was soft. Musical. But frightened. "You don't understand what they are." 2 hours later, she stood inside his cramped station quarters. Still bound. Still glowing. "Sit," Marcus said gently. She Saturday. "My name is Valara," she said quietly. "Marcus." "These chains are not restraints. They are anchors. They bind my essence to this physical form. What happens if I remove them? I return to the void between stars. I cease to exist." Marcus sat heavily on his bunk. "They gave me a woman held together by alien magic and forgot to explain that. The Valkyrie assume all species understand bound ones. Well, humans don't." He looked at her carefully. "What exactly am I supposed to do with you?" "I am your companion now. I was trained to serve." "Serve how?" "Combat support. Strategy. Emotional regulation. Physical comfort if desired." "Stop." Her eyes flickered. Relief. "You're not my servant," Marcus said. "You're not property. You're a person." She blinked slowly. "No one has ever said that to me." "Do you want to be here?" Silence stretched long. "I do not know what wanting feels like," she admitted softly. "I was never taught." Something inside Marcus cracked. "Okay," he said gently. "Then that's step 1. You figure out what you want." She stared at him like he had rewritten the universe. 3 weeks later, Marcus learned 3 things. Valara did not need sleep. She was terrifyingly intelligent. And the other soldiers did not respect her. "Nice exotic pet you got, Cole," Briggs said loudly in the mess hall. Marcus stood slowly. "She's not a pet." Briggs smirked. "Bound ones do whatever their masters want, right?" Marcus got close enough that Briggs stepped back. "She's not property." The room went quiet. Valara stared at Marcus afterward. "You defended me," she said. "Of course." "Why?" "Because you're not an object." She was silent for a long moment. "Among my people," she said softly, "bound ones are sacred. But sacred things are not treated as people." Marcus didn't know what to say. His comm unit buzzed. "Cole. Admiral's office. Now." The mission. A Valkyrie civilian transport had been shot down. 27 civilians captured. Thresh raiders. Brutal. Hunting Valkyrie. The ambassador specifically requested Valara. "Why?" Marcus demanded later. Valara raised her hand. Her chains shifted shape, forming a blade of crystal light. "I am connected to life and death," she said calmly. "I can sense fear. I can move through shadow." Marcus stared. "Why didn't you tell me?" "You never asked." He swallowed. "Do you want to go?" She stepped closer. "For the first time in my existence. I want something." "What?" "To help." He nodded. "Then we go together." Cath Prime, everything goes wrong. The insertion was clean. The ambush was not. Explosions. Gunfire. 2 soldiers down. Pinned behind broken walls. We're cut off. Lieutenant Park shouted. Valara's chains began glowing brighter. I can reach them, she said. No. The children will die. She slipped from his grip. Flowed. Not ran. Flowed through shadow. Shots passed through her. Reality bent around her. Marcus fought like hell. And then. Silence. Valkyrie civilians stumbled from the building. Alive. Valara walked behind them. Chains dim. Face pale. She collapsed into his arms. Got them, she whispered. You absolute idiot, he said, voice breaking. I wanted to. And for the first time. She meant it. Medical bay. She did not wake for 3 days. Marcus visited every hour. Brought blue ration bars. Read old Earth detective novels. You are like this detective, she said weakly when she woke. He refuses to give up. Yeah. Even when it hurts. You cannot walk away from broken things, she said softly. She reached for his hand. He didn't pull away. You feel things, he whispered. I'm learning. And this time when their fingers touched, he felt warmth. Not fear. Hope. The ambassador's warning. You have changed her, the ambassador said. Maybe that's good. Or perhaps you have taught her to want what she cannot have. The words followed Marcus. Because he knew the truth. He was falling in love with her. And she was still bound. Still technically a gift. He didn't know what future that allowed. He didn't get time to think. The station was attacked. Thresh warships. Full assault. Boarding parties everywhere. They're hunting bound ones, Valara said quietly. Consuming us grants power. Marcus went cold. Then you hide. They can track my chains. He grabbed her shoulders. I can't lose you. Her eyes widened. The station shook violently. Let me choose this, she whispered. He hesitated. Then nodded. Together. She smiled softly. I like that word. The final stand. They were cornered in the station arboretum. Marcus injured. Valara exhausted. Thresh commander blocking the exit. Give us the void touched, it growled. Marcus raised his rifle. No. The Thresh charged. Marcus fought like a man possessed. But he was outnumbered. Outmatched. The commander struck him aside. He hit the ground. Vision fading. And then. Valara screamed. Not fear. Rage. Her chains exploded in light. She rose into the air, surrounded by starfire. You do not touch him. Shadows tore through the Thresh. Reality bent. The commander tried to run. It didn't get far. When the light faded. Valara collapsed. Marcus caught her. I love you, she whispered. Her eyes closed. Valara stopped breathing at 3:17 station time. Marcus knew the exact second because he was counting. Counting her breaths. Counting the flickers in her chains. Counting the seconds he might have left with her. The medical bay lights were dim, but her chains were dimmer. The crystal threads that once shone like captured starlight now cracked with faint fractures of darkness. Every pulse of blue light was weaker than the last. She burned too much, the Valkyrie healer said quietly. She called the void in full form. No bound one has done that in recorded history. Fix it, Marcus said. It is not mechanical. I don't care. The healer's 4 eyes lowered. Her anchor is failing. Marcus stepped closer to the bed. Valara looked smaller without her strength. Fragile. Almost human. Hey, he whispered, taking her hand. You don't get to do this. You just figured out what wanting means. You don't get to quit now. No answer. The chains flickered again. Slower. Marcus swallowed hard. You told me I carry broken things, he said quietly. You were right. Meridian. The soldiers. The girl I pulled from that collapsing building. I carry them all. His voice shook. But you're not something I carry out of guilt. You're not a memory. You're not a responsibility. He leaned closer. You're my choice. The chains dimmed almost completely. The healer gasped. Her void connection is severing. Marcus pressed his forehead to Valara's hand. If you can hear me, he whispered. I love you. Not because you saved me. Not because you're sacred. Not because you're bound to me. He squeezed her fingers. I love you because you choose. For one terrible heartbeat. Nothing. Then the chains exploded with light. Not the cold blue of the void. Warmer. Brighter. Alive. Valara gasped and inhaled sharply. Her violet eyes opened. Marcus, she whispered. He laughed and cried at the same time. You scared the hell out of me. You are crying. No, I'm not. Terrible liar. The healer stared at the chains in open shock. This is impossible. What? Marcus demanded. The anchor has changed. The truth about the chains. Over the next 12 hours, Valkyrie scientists scanned her again and again. The results never changed. The chains no longer bind her to the void, the lead scientist said carefully. Then what are they bound to? Marcus asked. The scientist looked at him. To you. The room went silent. Marcus blinked. That's not funny. It is not humor. Valara sat up slowly, still weak but steady. I felt it, she said softly. When I was fading. I felt something pull me back. She looked at Marcus. You. He stepped closer. Explain. The chains were always anchors, the scientist said. They tethered bound ones to physical existence. But when Valara exhausted her void connection, she needed a new anchor point. Marcus' stomach tightened. And she found one. Valara reached for his hand. When their fingers touched, the sensation was no longer a faint echo. It was clear. Sharp. Her fear. His relief. Her love. His love. Not forced. Shared. The bond between you became stronger than her original tether, the scientist continued. It restructured the anchor. She is no longer bound by ceremony. Valara squeezed his hand. I'm bound by choice. Marcus' voice lowered. And if something happens to me? Valara did not look away. Then I will fade. The words hit harder than any weapon. That's not fair. Neither was being born without choice. He had no answer. The political storm. News spread quickly. A bound one who re-anchored herself to a human. Unheard of. Dangerous. Revolutionary. The Valkyrie ambassador requested a meeting immediately. You have altered 10,000 years of tradition, the ambassador said, his 4 eyes fixed on Marcus. I didn't mean to. That is why it matters. Valara stood beside Marcus, not behind him. Bound ones are not objects, she said clearly. We are beings capable of choice. The ambassador's secondary arms twitched. And what you have chosen is to tie your existence to a human soldier. Yes. Why? Valara looked at Marcus. Because he asked what I wanted. Silence filled the chamber. Marcus felt something strange in that moment. Not pride. Responsibility. He had not fought armies for this. He had not led revolutions. He had simply treated her like a person. And somehow, that was the most dangerous act of all. The threat returns. 3 days later, long-range scanners detected something worse than politics. Thresh warships. More than before. They know, Lieutenant Park said grimly. They know what happened. The Thresh valued void essence. And now Valara was something new. Something unique. They will come for you, Marcus said quietly. They will try, Valara replied. He turned to her. You're still recovering. So are you. Valara. She stepped closer. I will not hide. His jaw tightened. If they capture you. They won't. You don't know that. She lifted her hand and placed it against his chest. I know this. The warmth flowed between them. Solid. Steady. I'm stronger now, she said softly. Not because of the void. Because of us. Yes. The battle above the station. The Thresh attacked without warning. Explosions rocked the station. Boarding pods slammed into outer hull sections. Marcus grabbed his rifle. Valara's chains glowed brighter than ever before. Not wild. Controlled. "Stay behind me," he said automatically. She smiled faintly. Together. They moved through corridors filled with smoke and alarms. Thresh warriors burst through reinforced doors. Massive. Armored. Brutal. Marcus opened fire. Precise. Efficient. Valara moved beside him. Not flowing through shadow like before. Not tearing reality open. Instead, her chains extended in arcs of focused light. Blades of energy that struck with surgical precision. Each movement deliberate. Each strike controlled. They fought as one unit. He covered her blind spots. She sensed enemies before they turned corners. No orders needed. No commands shouted. Just instinct. At the central docking bay, the Thresh commander appeared. Larger than the rest. Scarred. Its deep voice rumbled. "You are changed." Valara stepped forward. "Yes. You are valuable. I'm not an object." The commander laughed. "All things are objects." Marcus stepped beside her. "Not humans." The commander charged. The battle was brutal. Marcus took a hit to his shoulder. Valara staggered when the commander struck her chains with a heavy plasma blade. For a moment. The glow flickered. The Thresh roared in triumph. Then Marcus stood in front of her. Bleeding. Unshaken. "You want her," he growled. "Come through me." The commander swung again. Marcus blocked with his rifle, the impact shattering it. He did not move. Did not fall. Valara felt it. Not fear. Not panic. Love. Fierce and unbreakable. Her chains flared, not in wild explosion, but in resonance. The energy did not burn outward. It folded inward. Through her. Through him. A shared surge. Together, they stepped forward. The commander hesitated. For the first time. Fear. Valara raised her hand. Marcus placed his uninjured hand over hers. Light surged forward in a single focused wave. The Thresh commander disintegrated. Not violently. Not explosively. Simply erased. The remaining Thresh fled. The station fell silent. Aftermath. The battle ended. The Thresh retreated. No bound ones were captured. No civilians lost. Marcus sat against the docking bay wall, breathing heavily. Valara slid down beside him. "You are bleeding," she said softly. "You are glowing." She smiled. "That is new." He laughed weakly. "You scared me again." "I did not fade." "No." She rested her head against his shoulder. "I will not fade," she said quietly. "Not unless you do." He looked at her seriously. "We grow old. We die." "Yes. That still doesn't seem fair." She closed her eyes gently. "Nothing in existence is permanent. The void taught me that. But choice gives meaning to the time we have." He looked down at her. "You're getting good at this emotional thing." "I am learning from the best terrible liar in the galaxy." He smiled. A new future. Weeks later, the Velkari Council made an official declaration. Bound ones were no longer ceremonial gifts. They would choose their anchors. Choose their lives. Choose their paths. Valara stood before her people and spoke clearly. "Freedom does not weaken us," she said. "It strengthens us." Marcus watched from the side. Not as owner. Not as master. As partner. When the ceremony ended, she walked back to him. "Well," she asked softly. "Well, what? Do you regret accepting the gift?" He pretended to think. "You reorganized my quarters. You criticize my detective novels. You nearly died 3 times." She raised an eyebrow. "And?" He took her hand. "Best decision I ever made." She leaned into him. "You did not choose the gift," she said gently. "You chose me." He nodded. "Yeah. Her chains glowed softly between them. Not restraints. Not symbols of ownership. Just light. Alive. Responsive. A reminder. The universe was vast. Cold. Dangerous. But humans had something powerful. Not strength. Not weapons. Choice. And sometimes, that was enough to change everything.